A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. London. In a powerful display of public sentiment, thousands of protesters took to the streets of London on Sunday to demand urgent action to address the crisis of sewage pollution in Britain's waterways. The event, known as the March for Clean Water, saw an estimated 15,000 participants marching along the River Thames towards Parliament, many dressed in blue and waving flags to symbolize a human river. The protest was organized by a coalition of over 130 environmental and water sport organizations, including Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, and British Rowing, all united in their call for the government to take decisive action against water pollution. Protesters carried signs with slogans such as "Stop the Plop" and "Species Not Feces," highlighting the growing frustration over the state of the nation's rivers and coastal waters. Water pollution has become an increasingly pressing issue in Britain, drawing attention to the impacts of climate change and the historical privatization of the country's utilities. Many private companies responsible for water and sewage services have been criticized for failing to upgrade their outdated infrastructure, which often dates back to Victorian times. As populations have grown and demand for water has increased, leaks have become commonplace, and during periods of heavy rainfall, companies have been known to discharge raw sewage into rivers, lakes, and the sea. According to the Environment Agency, the number of sewage discharges skyrocketed by over 50% last year, reaching a staggering 464,000 spills. The situation has been exacerbated by agricultural runoff and intensified rainfall linked to climate change. Rower Imogen Grant, a gold medalist at the 2024 Olympic Games, spoke candidly about the health risks faced by athletes training on the polluted waters of the Thames. "I spend hours on the water training every day, and I often see nappies, plastic bags, and scum floating around. It's just not acceptable, and we need change," she stated. Water companies have argued that regulatory constraints prevent them from raising water bills sufficiently to fund necessary infrastructure improvements. In response to the growing crisis, the newly elected Labour Party government has introduced a bill aimed at strengthening regulations and imposing harsher penalties on polluting water companies. However, many demonstrators believe that these measures do not go far enough. Nature broadcaster Chris Packham, who attended the march, expressed his hope that the government would act swiftly to address the pollution crisis. "Britain's rivers are among the worst in Europe, but we know what needs to be done and we have the technologies to fix it. We just need to convince our government to act more rapidly," he said. The protest also featured prominent figures like actor Jim Murray and Giles Bristow, chief executive of Surfers Against Sewage, who led the march from the Albert Embankment to Parliament Square. Banners reading, "Stop Poisoning Britain's Waterways" and "Cut the Crap, Save Our Rivers" were prominently displayed as the crowd marched. Bristow emphasized the need for immediate action, stating, "We are fed up with trying to enjoy our natural blue spaces while they are being polluted. It's time to cut the crap." Charles Watson, founder of the charity River Action, highlighted the need for reform in the regulatory system that oversees water companies. He argued that the notion that polluting waterways can be profitable must end, and called for better funding and enforcement of existing laws. The protest comes amid a water provision crisis in the country, with raw sewage discharged into rivers and seas for over 3.6 million hours last year, marking a 105% increase from the previous year. Additionally, mass fish deaths in England's rivers have surged nearly tenfold since 2020. Criticism of the privatized water system has also come from the UN Rapporteur for the Right to Clean Water, who accused the sector's regulators of ineffectiveness and lack of accountability. Despite the challenges, the turnout at the protest demonstrated a strong public demand for change. Melissa Green, chief executive of the National Federation of Women's Institutes, noted that her organization has been raising concerns about water quality since 1927. "Our message to the government is clear. You have the regulations and the regulators in place. Now you need to hold polluters accountable. Our water is being knowingly polluted for profit, and we can't understand why the government isn't taking more action," she stated. As the march concluded, the message was clear. The people of Britain are demanding clean water, and they will continue to fight for their right to a safe and healthy environment. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.